Nigeria's entertainment and media industry is projected to reach a noteworthy $12.9 billion in revenue by 2027. This is indicated in a report by PricewaterhouseCoopers. Another report by the International Monetary Fund, IMF, released much earlier, indicated that the industry was projected to generate an estimated revenue of $10.8 billion by 2023. These projections and more statistics from other reliable sources indicated that Nigeria's entertainment industry has not only come of age but continued to grow regardless of the nation's economic downturn through the years. Before we begin to look into the foundation and other aspects of the industry, permit me to formally welcome you to this program, our Sunday show, your show on Africa Independent Television, AIT. My name is Obi Ajuru. I say welcome and good morning, our reliable partners. And of course, my co-anchor is going to join me during the interview section. Yes, good people of a great nation. I welcome you viewers around the world. We are glad to have you join us again. The ingenuity of Nigeria truly cannot be quantified on the face value. When we say we want to examine how far the Nigerian entertainment industry has come, I am not sure we shall be able to address all the aspects of the growth and development process, even the setbacks that have characterized the industry over the years. But we shall try as much as possible to address the key areas that have stimulated the industry over time. It is truly a massive industry, perhaps underestimated in the years earlier. Like many of us in the past, we initially thought that the Nigerian music, movies, and the rest were just to entertain and address certain socio-economic issues around the nation. But as time went by, it became clear that the industry is beyond what we can imagine. Sincerely, there is so much to talk about concerning the evolution in the industry. Let's not forget that as the music and movie sectors grew, other aspects of the entertainment have emerged and doing very well in their own rights, mostly driven through the social media space. These are more we shall bring to you ways about now. It is about time for us to have some interactions with seasoned veterans in the industry. But before then, let us refresh your memories on some major issues that made news during the week and hear what Nigerians are saying about the multi-billion-dollar industry in Nigeria. Stay with us. We'll be back.
I think the world is evolving actually. But generally to me, music, it's all about the message you are passing to others. You understand? It influences life positively or negatively. So it's all about the message. I feel putting a ban on those content is like the government is taking us backwards. So I don't really believe in that. We have to keep moving forward, and that is how it's done in other countries. So we have to promote it.
I wouldn't say there should be a ban because what we are practicing is democracy, freedom of speech, freedom to express yourself, and the rest. The only thing I just want in place is just a way of reducing all those things, giving out warnings that in such a way that because most of this content will pass, tends to have a negative way of impacting our life, negatively or positively.
The old music got more content than the new music these days, yeah, because most music send messages. So once the message is not complete, the music is actually empty. It's not about going with the trend. It's about music that is going to stand the test of time. Trends go, but when you do a music that stands test of time, you're talking about the next 20, 30 years, people are still vibing to that song.
Okay, yes. You are still watching The Sunday Show on AIT. Let us now take you to the interactive section. Like I said earlier on, yes, our interactive section, and my co-anchor will be joining us.
Grab your seats and join us on the most fascinating 60-minute infotainment journey, showing on your favorite TV channel, Africa Independent Television, AIT. Analysis on topical national issues, news, sports, and entertainment are on the menu. It's a show you do not want to miss. It is The Sunday Show.
It's The Sunday Show on Africa Independent Television, AIT. I am not alone. My name is Obi Ajuru, and I have my dear colleague here, my co-anchor, Makwen Joseph.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you.
Good morning once again. Yes, it's looking beautiful. And the topic we're actually looking at is the entertainment industry. And I don't think this episode will be enough for us to dissect it.
Very, very large.
But the good thing is I am going to be talking with some of my favorites, people I grew up watching and hearing about. Today we'll be having a chit-chat with them.
Those two young men are expatriates.
Yeah, two young men from the other side.
Yes. Young men.
Legends.
They are expatriates in what they do. So welcoming you this morning, Oris Wiliki. Good morning.
How are you? Good morning.
Very well. Good to have you. Yes, we have Oris Wiliki, a Nigerian reggae musician who gained recognition upon the success of his 1989 record, Tribulation, and which was partly produced by Lemmy Jackson. And the song followed by Conqueror. Good to have you again, Oris.
Thank you. Thank you so plenty.
Yes. And of course, we have the mover and the shaker of the behind-the-scenes stuff. Yes, Eddie Lawani. Good morning.
Hi.
Eddie is an event specialist. He is strategic communication strategist. Eddie, we met at water parks. That was some 20-something years ago during an event with Lagbaja and Co. I'm sure you remember. So yes. Good to have you, gentlemen. I want to begin my interview this morning with you as an artist manager and then a special event specialist. Today, the Nigerian music, we are looking at the evolution of the entertainment industry, and you know how large it is. A lot of people are doing stuffs in their houses. You record, you push into the social media. People are doing skits. In the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, it was all about music, music, and music, where we have series of record labels. But today is a different thing entirely. It is so wide now, it's so large. So, Eddie, how has the journey been as a specialist in the industry?
Well, it has been an interesting journey, and I think the industry is better for it, because technology has come to our aid. And today, with the use of technology and music from Nigeria is reaching every corner of the world. And I would say that artists in this time are lucky. And I hope that they use the advantage that technology and internet has given them to make the best of what they are doing.
Wonderful. Oris.
Yes, please.
Oris Wiliki.
Yes, please.
Tribulation is still trending. Conqueror is still trending. In the days of, let me say in the 60s, 70s, 80s, like I said earlier on, and the 90s, it was all about music. And once you come out with a big hit, you'll be all over the place. Would you want to compare, in your own time, that early stage of the music industry to what is happening now? Talking about evergreen songs.
Well, I would say that both ends have their own advantages and disadvantages. I would say part of the disadvantages we had in our days was that there was no internet, and the scope of coverage in terms of promoting your job was a little smaller than what it is now. And people then were not doing the whole thing like it was business. Somebody like you, for example, who will hear that Orisuleke has a new one out, will on your own even go and look for it. You don't even need to wait for me. You go and pick it up because you want to have it in your program. And so you play with the love and the passion you have for music. You don't need to know the artist, you understand? But it's not the same thing now. And because a lot of them, a lot of you guys that were presenters then were trained, and so you do research on every product you want to promote on air, and so you can actually discuss the life and personality that you play on your stylus. Then we used to have vinyl and all that, you play on air. But it is not so these days. These days we have the internet. Will I say, unfortunately, most of the presenters you have today are not undergoing the same training that a lot of you guys were opportunity to have before you go on air. These days you have kids, maybe 20, 25, who probably just have a passion for speaking good English, and then he's behind the microphone as a presenter. He doesn't know the rudiment. He doesn't know the training that goes beyond just playing music on radio. And so when you ask one or two questions, they are not able to express. They are not able to answer because they don't know. They only just know of perhaps Davido, and then play Davido. You do not. Yeah, you do not go beyond just Davido to do research on who is Davido. So when you play Davido and listeners ask you certain questions, you should be able to, answer that question because you have done a lot of research before you play the job. But today it's not the same.
So talking about the evolution, the industry has grown positively because when we talk about the business of music, there is so much to benefit when it comes to music. But then, during your days as musicians in the Nigerian space, what was the benefits, apart from passion for the music and passion for the industry, what was the benefit compared to what it is today?
Well, the benefits then was for the passion. For the passion.
Not the money.
For the passion. Yes, because if it was for the money, we didn't have the money. You understand? So thank God we had professional recording companies then like Polygram, EMI, you have the Sony and the rest of them who were handled at the helms of affair, by professionals, who came in from out of the country and then they are here doing the job professionally. They know how to discover an artist. They know how to promote the artist. They know how to market the artist. And so if Orisuleke were to be coming out next month with a new one, the record company would have sensitized the entire public. And so you see distributors paying far ahead of time. So you can in one day distribute over 400,000, records sold because they have paid for it. So you have professionals doing it. So the rest of all those professionals brought a lacuna in the system whereby pirates became the kings and they took over the industry. The musicians were not making money until they too decided to say, okay, let us begin to have our mushroom labels, So we started having our personal labels to handle our job. And so you were actually working for people to just make money. You were not making the money because you didn't have the wherewithal. You don't have the capacity to actually do everything all by yourself. So it was a tough time before now.
I can imagine. Eddie, you are an event specialist, an artist manager. Tell me, what was it like those days when you were working with the likes of Lagbaja and Sashino Peters and all the rest of them as a special strategist in that entertainment industry?
Okay, maybe you're interested to know that I started off as a journalist.
Okay, that's a very special aspect. Okay.
Yeah. I started off as a journalist. Then I had a run in radio as a stringer and Voice of Nigeria. Wow. Then I went on to TV, producing and directing before I went into music full time. So that's why you see the communication part. And I actually also worked for P-Man for about 2 years. So that gave me an insight into the front end and the back end of the industry. And in the process, I ended up managing a few artists as well, along with the Rascal Felix and Moses, Lieutenant Shotgun. And then I was also involved in discovering and nurturing to stardom people like Two-Face Dibia, Lee Baba.
I didn't want to talk about, I wanted you to let the cat out of the bag there.
And and Daddy Shoki as well, a number of them. So from my point of view, I was always in the engine room of having to help to propel the artist.
The original
maybe
cook.
in addition to whatever the record company was able to bring to the table, and in some cases where the record company brought nothing. Because very few artists were lucky, or you have to be like extremely, extremely good, top of the food chain, like an Oris, like an Yeka, like then a Chris Mba or a Raskin. Maybe
his blessed memory.
Below this level, there were people who were willing to also get heard. And that was what brought about the independent labels, which eventually also paved way for piracy because there was no control anymore. An independent label is somebody who probably gets some voice from a Jibile or from a Jeleba, can print a few CDs, and because they don't have a distribution network, they take it to Alaba, and then the Alaba people, when they are selling these independent artists, and they see that Oris has a hit, they cut and join into it as well. So as they are doing the business, they are robbing Oris or robbing Kimono. Unfortunately, that was where we found ourselves in the industry, up until the advent of the internet, and that kind of democratized the music creation space. So like you said earlier, you can be in your room on your phone and make a beat or cook a tune. It wouldn't matter what the quality is, because the channel for listening had also gone from the home appliances majorly to listening on your phone. And when you listen to music that you have made on your phone, there is less demand for quality of mixes. I mean, Pupa Oris is someone who is known for good mixes of his albums. Then when you're making a record to be heard on phone, you can cut corners and just put a few frequencies and skip the rest and run with it. So it became quicker to make music and easier to distribute. But I must also say that it has also become harder to succeed, because now you have so much music, so much information, so many artists, that only about 4 or 5% will ever get to the status of what you might call national stardom, and maybe about 2% or 1.5 get to international stardom. So with every advantage, like Corey said, you have a disadvantage. Yes, technology has helped us that music can travel far and wide very quickly. It has also made it easy for every and anybody to be in that space. And then even harder to have a winner or to have a star in the real sense of it. That we can say this is a national star or an international star. So people are now existing in different pockets, in different communities, in different clusters, and doing their thing. Way back then, it was more difficult, and I wouldn't even say it was more profitable then, unfortunately.
Okay.
I can imagine.
The thing is, from the advent of the industry, it has been passion and passion and passion. Even we, talking about on-air personalities, we came into the industry because of passion. We grew up loving what we were hearing. Then we found ourselves, luckily we found ourselves in the studios doing what we're doing. And from the way it is, nobody will tell you, almost everybody will tell you that it started from passion. It's the passion that drove him into doing this. Then when you have the passion, you get trained, and when you get trained, you do what you're doing. And that brings the longevity, bringing us to this point. And now let me talk to Popa Oris. How would you say, because whether we like it or not, the Nigerian music industry cannot be, the story of the Nigerian music industry cannot be written without making mention of people like you. How would you say, if you wake up today looking at how Nigerian music has grown over the world, even with the fact that we still have bad eggs or unqualified musicians and music producers, but how, on the positive side, how would you say, looking at the Nigerian industry, the Nigerian music industry going global, what would you say as a father in the industry?
Okay, I'll say I'm glad to be alive at this time to see what our dreams, were at a time. At a time, you could not define Nigerian music. It was almost impossible for you to define the Nigerian music because we had the space filled up with superstars, whether Fuji, whether reggae, whether high life, whether pop or indigenous music. So you have everybody in that space occupying the space. And so you couldn't say this was a Nigerian music. But today, I give kudos to our children who has been able to create something out of nothing, and then you can identify a Nigerian beat today from anywhere in the world. And so when you play a Nigerian music, whether in Asia or everywhere, this must be coming from Nigeria. In fact, other countries are copying Nigeria, rhythm now to be able to help their own level of music. And that is a good thing. The only problem I have, especially for our kids, is the content. Thank God some of them are listening, because when we speak, that, you need to have the heady contents in your music because it's going to be heard. Like I asked one, I can't begin to say what he said in his lyrics. And I said, okay, at 94, when you have grandchildren, when they start asking you, Daddy, what were you saying? Or Grandpa, what did you mean by this word? Will you be able to explain to your and then it will be a thing of them, because they were not words that are heady that people can be proud of, and that is why they don't last. And so we were inspired to write songs. We were not those kind of musicians who would just say, create beat for me, I put in words, and then you're a star. No, you must be inspired to write a song. And so those that live in that web, who write music based on the inspiration, live forever. You just said Tribulation is still trending. Tribulation was 35 years ago. And so if it was not inspired, written, it would not stand the test of time.
Evergreen
things
songs.
We spoke about, yes, things we spoke about, because the true musicians are the eye of the public, okay? And so we are the epitome of the society we live in. And so things we cried over, things we talked about at a time we thought we were suffering, is worse now. So you will say some of us have the eye of the future, because people like Fela, things he talked about at the time when we thought we were suffering are today 10 times, worse.
Horrible.
And so it's only when you are inspired to write a song that you can be relevant that way and stand the test of time. So today, most of our kids just wake up, go to the studio, oh yeah, DJ, or create me one beat. You create
Mr. Producer.
Beat, I just say la la whoa whoa yeah yeah la la whoa whoa yeah yeah, and then you have written a song. No, it doesn't go that way. It not go so. So some of them are very good, But I know with time, the chaps will be filtered out from the main grain.
Oh, definitely,
you know?
definitely.
Definitely.
So the sin is like for every Dick and Harry now, just like my brother said. You know, the sin is like for every Dick and Harry right now because it's the evolution of internet, and so you can throw in anything in the internet. But with time, you know, the good ones will also filter out, you know, to also stand the test of time. So I give kudos to all my kids my children who are doing so well today. But the only thing is that they don't have the history in their head to know that people, you know, work so hard to enjoy, for them to enjoy what they're enjoying now. They don't have the body is telling them so. And so they don't know. They just think they fall from the sky. No, people work so hard. People like Eddie Lawani, you know, who had no money at the time, but for the passion of it, was doing everything in rain, in sun, you know. Old people sometimes when he has to borrow money to push his artist. And so those that were watching wouldn't know. They don't have that history. They don't have it. So today they are excited about.
All we want to know is having.
They want to blow.
Going to attend. Go to an event where you have him behind the scene, and of course, it's a huge success. So
and let me talk to Eddie Lawani. You know, as it is today, the history of events, and not just the history of events, but the successes recorded in major events, your name has to be written in these places.
In gold.
Today, the Nigerian music industry, Nigerian artists are selling out arenas not just in Nigeria, but in different continents and countries in the world. You as a father, talking about creativity and talking about putting together events, what would you say and how would you now put it looking at what is happening? Because you people started it.
You laid the foundation.
Life is about time and season. Time and season in terms of we go through phases of evolution. So a generation comes, they do their part and move on. The next generation comes and they do their part and move on. And every generation, they will have their fault, they will have their folly, they will have their good, they will have their part. Yeah. Because I remember that even when Oris Wiliki and Kimono were like top of the game, there were old generation who were saying they didn't know what they were talking about. So it will always be a generational problem. So we have to be open-minded enough to like understand that and maybe excuse the new generation. Is their time. They will live through it. Maybe I don't know. In 20 years' time, they too will look at people who are doing stuff then and think that their own time was a lot better and had more sanity. So I see Nigerian artists filling up arenas all over the world. We're happy for that, at least. It's getting us some measure of foreign exchange into the country, money that they repatriate home. But then the question again is, why are we not able to replicate that at home? And the answer is simple. There's no money, people are hungry, and people only spend disposable income on entertainment, unfortunately. Those days, people save to buy the records of their favorite artists because they know they can enjoy that music for 1 year, 2 years, and always play every Sunday. Their records they will play from Kimono to Kenny Rogers to Sonny Ade to Oliver De Coque. You made a record, you had 6 months to enjoy it, right? Now, you don't even have a week to enjoy a song because there's just too many songs that are popping. So people are streaming, it's cheaper to stream or download. People really don't have extra cash to be able to go to big concerts on regular basis, weekends, to help us generate that live music industry, unfortunately. Except where some sponsors come along and put money behind it. But as a business, it's a business model. If you want to say, I'm a promoter, I take artists from here to Warri to perform this weekend and go to Aba the following weekend. You run at a loss, you go bankrupt. Some of us have gone bankrupt in promotion business because what's it called?
The returns.
The returns, was just not measuring up. The return is just not measuring up if you don't have sponsorship. Whereas abroad, there are different layers of income streams, from merchandising to TV rights to other ancillary rights like performing rights. And artist finishes playing in O2, he still earns money from other copyright benefits that accrue from the performance that he has had. But here, the industry did not develop to that extent or hasn't gotten to that extent yet, because there are so many factors that come into play. Do we have the venues? Do we have the expertise? Do we have the platforms that an artist can leave Sokoto and travel across Nigeria and do 50 shows and go back to base? That needs to be developed. It can't just happen overnight. And in most cases, because it takes time to develop those structures, those that have money in Nigeria buy cement and sell it tomorrow, or put it in real estate where they are sure they can have their money. So there has to be a commitment both from government and maybe some focused private sector investors to help build the groundwork so we can have what we see happening abroad by way of arenas and venues filling out. But again, the bottom line still remains, if you haven't eaten, the chance that you can take 20,000 to buy a ticket at the concert is very remote.
I'd love to end the show with playing the song of Oris Wiliki, but as long as we stream this program, we do not have the right to do that. But Oris, as we round off this show this morning, your advice to the young musicians out there?
My advice for them is to work hard, especially to those who want to come into the business, to understand that first you must have the talent. Don't be deceived by what you see of other people, becoming stars. If you don't have it, you don't have it. And so when you want to go and know that it's a road full of thorns, it's not a road full of bed of roses. So hard work, you stay out of trouble, out of drugs, put God first in whatever you do, and then success is at your doorstep.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I describe the two of you as expatriates in what you do. The real deal is the man behind the scene, who a successful event that I have attended in Lagos some years back, Eddie will always be behind it. And thank you, Oris, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Those days when we used to sit out somewhere inside, outside the studio of Repa 106 and Repa 100, way back in Alagbadu. Yeah. Yes, it was a huge one. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Over
Those
to you,
were the good days.
Legend.
Thank you.
Legend. All I can say is legend.
Yeah.
Thank you very much once again for having your time, spending your time with us on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, it's a wrap on the show today, talking about the Sunday show. Thanks for investing your time with us, your valuable time. It's been fun hanging out with you. And next week will be another time for us to do it again. You sound like, you look like you want us to go out again.
Oh, yes. How did you know?
You love being spoiled.
I love outings.
You love being spoiled.
Yes. Yes, that's
All
the
right.
real deal.
Well, the more will be taken on the show, and have a wonderful time. Keep being that good person you've always been.